course they have to release something like this when I'm not ready for it. God damn it! Very hyped though, so it's worth it. The most significant lyric in this song to me is the idea of returning like a firebird, which is obviously a phoenix, which is the symbol of reincarnation. And the power that Rindo seems to have to do with having deja vu and redoing event perfectly fits into this, so the song likely is partially symbolizing him.
Watch it burn like a firebird. I'm coming back until the world is yours. The world will be mine.
The first main sequence shows all of the main characters walking down the street, and their body language says a lot about them. Rindo had his head low and was slow while walking, showing his reservations about doing so or disassociation from all the people around him. Fret was slow, but his head was held high, so it shows his easygoing nature and just going where the mood takes him, and shows he does have optimism. While Nagi is the only of the three who is running, showing drive behind her actions, and she's the most expressive of the three in that section. Minamoto's shown dealing with noise, which to me didn't have a whole lot of substance, but was just cool to see, because it's kind of expected he would know how to take them out, considering his previous occupation and potentially current occupation as a Reaper. Then we get to see Sugami, who I'm very happy to see, and she has a unique filter on her which saturates her red, which is a colour used to warn of danger. Kubo appears in the same scene of the opening, which implies a connection between them. They both have the same filter, but the colour he is saturated in is blue instead, which is less of a concerning colour. We also get to see Kubo's expression while we don't see Sugami's, which means her intentions are hidden from us, the observer. Then we get to see who is referred to as Neku in the previous trailer, and he is borderline glitching out. Static tends to be used in this series to show the transition between planes, because death is its own plane. The people just aren't visible on the plane where the living world is. So static is shown normally when noise manifests into the plane where the Reaper's game takes place. And if you're in a consistent state of static, it'd kind of imply that you're not able to fully manifest into the plane you're on, which is likely an issue. And it's likely something that was caused by the events in A New Day until we get more information. After we get to see Rindo rushing forward with an expression of either defiance or anguish on his face. The expression on his face makes it clear it's not a choice, and that he's being pushed to by whatever the hell is going on that is being symbolized in this opening. Shiba is shown in the center, seeming to own the moment, with his arms outstretched so he takes up most of the street that is empty aside from him, and so he personally is taking up most of the screen. It's clear he's the focus in that scene, and that he sees himself as quite important and at the center of the stage. The transition between this scene and the next is really interesting. They use road signs in this opening, and in this specific moment it's a no entry sign. This could have implications towards Shiba not ultimately being connected to the way that the game's meant to progress forward. That he'll lead Rindo and us as a result to a dead end that we'll have to turn back from. In the opening, Shoka is made a point of just like she was in the cover art. It's really neat to see, and this is the most expressive we've seen her so far too. She's in a shared scene and filter with Rindo, back to back. It implies a connection between the two, and I'm curious to know what that is. The transition from this scene to the next on her phone shows no entry signs. It implies she could be another roadblock for us in the story. We get to see Fret and Nagi using abilities. Going by the colour of the arrows, the ones that come from Fret that affect people show light bulbs, which implies it's giving them ideas. While the arrow coming from Nagi when it affects people shows a heart symbol, implying it could be changing or manipulating how they feel. The next scene shows us Rindo, but for a brief moment directly behind him there is a roundabout sign. The sign could imply that deja vu triggered for him, like what was mentioned in the previous trailer, meaning he had to do events over again, that he reached a bad or dead end before that moment. Rindo appears in the center of the street where a bunch of people are around him, and some of them are glitching out like Neku did in his scene in this opening. Yet again, it could imply issues with the manifestation of things within the planes, which isn't a good sign. And then, the sky is also not the right color. Something happens in the sky that is hidden from us, but I doubt it's just a Reaper or a noise appearance. It could be, the composer or an angel, considering it's being hidden from us, the audience, but obviously when the scene happens, or if it happens within the game, we'll probably see what the hell it is. That entire sequence transitions into Shiba's eye, implying it could be his inspiration or aspiration behind what he's doing, and that it could be directly connected to him, even if he is not personally responsible for the events, and that he has a connection to Rindo of sorts, whether it's personal or not. We see him clash with Rindo, and then Rindo sees the new player pin with the new skull on it. The moment he grasps that pin, the world seems to go back to normal, and we see Fret and Nagi, with them both seeming to give him a nudge to move forward by stepping forward themselves. We get to see some initial hesitation or, second thoughts from Rindo before he smiles and actually starts moving by choice. That entire scene could imply that because Rindo has the player pin and is enabled as a result to have this ability to redo events, that what happened within the scene in A New Day that Neku sees of Sugami and the potential end of the world where the Reaper symbol appears in the sky is prevented by the events of this game and what Rindo's road is going to be in progression. And the road signs also seem to hint at this, where you should turn back or where you shouldn't progress. And that smile with his head held up, it shows that he willingly wants to move forward by the end of the opening versus what we saw earlier. Anyway, assumptions around the meanings of some of these scenes is based on the idea that road signs are universal, meaning that they'd apply the same way in Japan as they do over here. So, if they don't, let me know in the comments because it could be misinformed. If not, then I hope you had fun with this little breakdown, and I hope that it provided something at least a little useful, because while reactions to new stuff that makes me very excited is very fun, I like it when I can at least give something that other people can run with or can be talked about in my videos. So I actually prefer doing stuff like this over just doing, just a reaction of the content and being like, ooh, look at this! While I do show my initial reactions to trailers, because my reactions are very varied depending on the content, I also do try to add more so there's something more consistent and more actually digestible for us to be able to communicate about versus just me going ooh and ah over stuff I like in trailers. If you enjoyed this, I'd appreciate if you liked and subscribed, and for the people who are watching this who are big fans of The World Ends With You, I would actually recommend you stick around, because there is something I am working on that I think you'll all enjoy seeing down the line. Currently, it is a big work in progress though.